will know that He is the Most High. No one will be able to take credit for this. So the awakening is not random. It's Abba Yah fulfilling his covenant commitments to the nation of Israel. And those who hate us know this. If they could, they would stop it. Let's take a look at something some of you may be familiar with, the doctrine of the convergent timeline paradox and its connection to Project LookingGlass. This says Project LookingGlass is an alleged U.S. government program claimed to have developed a device capable of viewing probable futures, not just predicting them, according to proponents like Dan Burich. The device was reverse engineered from ancient Sumerian cylinder seals, allegedly containing schematics for alien technology. It used exotic physics like electromagnets, argon gas mirrors, and lenses to warp space-time and project holographic-like images of possible futures. In other words, this technology to see into the future is being used like a crystal ball. The question is who, or should I say what, is showing them the future. We already know because all of this advanced technology is coming from somewhere. It's not happening by chance. It's the deceiver, the principalities in high places. But here's the thing, the power of those beings is limited. They don't have as much power as they think, or they would not have been banished. They can only go so far.
Salakia. So she's wrong about that, about they have already been banished. And the power of those lesser powers, lesser gods, is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Akakodash, double honor to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, even the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful like tabernacle. David, I'm the elder Yashuan. Back with this quick lesson, right? Going into what? Um, Looking Glass. All right. So quickly, where did they get Looking Glass? Well, they dug it up out of the desert, is what they're going to get to. So let's get that. The earth helped the woman. Let's get that. This is some stuff that we learned early on when we came. We came. The earth helped the woman. It doesn't mean that. Let's see, the earth helped. That's in Revelation. Let's see. There it is. Revelation 12:16. We'll break it down. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Uh, the earth opening up her mouth, okay, and swallowing up the flood. The dragon are these devils, right? So called white man, all the way up to the Roman Empire, ancient Roman Empire, telling these lies about that they're the beginning of civilization. Oh, the Greek, and da 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 da. You Negroes have never done anything but swing from vine to vine, and da da da. That's the flood which the dragon spewed out of his mouth. Lies, right? And they covered the faces of the judges thereof. They're not the judges. That's us. Da 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 da. Well, when Vladimir Putin says, "Well, look at these old artifacts and these old things that we have underground," that's the earth opening her mouth. Well, if the Most High left specific technology to be unearthed during this day, that's the earth opening its mouth to do what? Let's watch a little more of this and see. So they're going to go into what happened and how we got that technology, that looking glass, how we used the Iraqi war to go over there and take a whole bunch of technology, right, and things, and then Then they were, and that is the Most High giving this devil, right, this technology. Gave it, he gave it to him, gave it to the Hamites, the ancient Babylonians, gave it to the Akkadians, the Medio Persians, if you will. Okay, and that stuff is still around, and it was, if they're unearthing that today or during the Iraqi war, that was the time it was supposed to come. Everything has its time. Ecclesiastes 3. All right, so we get that earth help a woman and cast. Okay, so let's watch a little more of this, right? Because it's very interesting. Let's get this real quick. It's probably right here. Sirach 5 and 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or small. Take it away. And this is Huldah, Gates of Huldah, some woman trying to teach the scriptures, and she's terribly off. She goes into fallen angels, which you don't understand the scriptures. So anyway, we'll pick out the bones. Go.
They will be granted a certain amount of time in these last days so that the prophecies can be fulfilled. But after that, the lake of fire. Let's go on. It says the DCTP, or Doctrine of the Convergent Timeline Paradox, is often brought up in discussions of Project Looking Glass to explain why, despite multiple possible futures, all timelines appear to converge on the same event. The theory suggests that the looking glass could reveal these convergence points, showing that certain events are unavoidable.
Okay, now this isn't so much about the looking glass as it is to the technology that came out of ancient Babylon, right? And how it connects to the ancient Israelites because they were there, right? Because that's what they're saying, the same thing, all right? Why are we fighting? What's going on in Iran right now? Okay. Well, they're about to go over there and do the same thing, aren't they? What is Iran? We're in that captivity too. So listen closely to what she's saying.
It goes on to say that to alter them might be useless because all timelines still pass through the same
Now,
interconnection.
don't get caught up on the
However,
timelines
the
and
way of
don't get caught up on the looking glass and the technology. Understand that where it came from connects to Israel. All right. But all of this shit about what it does and how it works and all of that, don't worry about that. Worry about the connection to the scriptures. All right. Because it's connection to the scriptures, and the Most High put it there for them to see certain things. We understand how those things work. She can't understand. Under You have to understand that she believes in fallen angels, so her doctrine is off. We got to spit those bones out. Go ahead.
observers respond to these points can still shape the future branches that emerge. So, what are these events that's supposed to happen that's so earth shattering that they have to keep it covered up? Other sources that I read referred to it as a mass awakening or a global transformation in human consciousness and societal structures. What could this mass awakening possibly be? Mass awakening? And apparently, they used different viewers. Some of them were psychics to view the information separately. So only the puppet masters know what these events are. That's very suspicious, don't you think? Here's the thing, we have the prophecies, and we were told to watch for certain signs. The other thing is, we can pay attention to the moves they are currently making.
Gotta watch out for this witchcraft. Any woman trying to teach, that's rebellion. which is as the sin of witchcraft. So watch what you.
They seem to be scrambling to put certain things in place by 2030 because proponents claim that the device could not change the outcome of all branches of the timeline. It always led to the same endpoint. Now, think about this. If they know that attempts to change outcomes after a certain point will be useless, what's the alternative? They need to look for ways to delay the inevitable or put things in place to try to control what's going to happen. Here's what's going to cook their noodles. The procedures they put in place may be the things that trigger the outcome they don't want. So, whistleblowers also said that these psychics or remote viewers, per se, who were operating as seers during the simulations, talked about 3 dates that they saw. According to whistleblower Dan Burich's testimony, when operators ran simulations or viewed timelines, all possible future outcomes converged on 3 specific dates: December 21st, 2012. So, this was the most prominent convergence point, matching the end date of the Mayan long count calendar and various ancient and modern prophecies about a global transformation or catastrophe. The other date was December 2022. So this appeared repeatedly in the projections, suggesting a recurring or cyclical pattern in the observed timelines. And the other date was December 2030.
2021, we're going to extrapolate. Is that a solstice of some kind? They didn't say that one.
Hmm. This also appeared in multiple simulations, and it says possibly indicating a future event or shift tied to the program's predictive framework. It goes on to say that these dates are central to the claims made by Burrich and other alleged insiders who say the Looking Glass device could not show exact outcomes but instead revealed a set of probable futures that all aligned on these 3 points. The convergence is described as a pattern rather than a single deterministic event, implying that these dates were significant in the program's strategic or prophetic assessments. Now, what's interesting is that they came to this knowledge because of cylinders found in Iraq. Let's look at this from Science News Today. It's
Now, here we go. We're going back to the Iraq War and how this technology ties in, right, to the artifacts going into the earth help the woman. What do you mean the earth help the woman? Here's where we're going into it. All right, a little more play. The earth, those are earthen vessels. Those cylinders, clay, ancient clay cylinders made out of mud. Mud is clay. Earthen vessels.
titled Ancient Clay Cylinders Found in Iraq Reveal a King's Secret
Earthen, what they say? Earthen vessels. The earth helped the woman. The mud, the clay, the dirt.
plan to save a crumbling temple. It says deep in the heart of modern day Iraq, the winds of time frequently peel back the layers of the earth to reveal secrets buried for millennia.
The earth helped the woman to reveal secrets buried for millennia. Who are the true people? So they had to run over there. See, where was the first stop in General, whatever his name is? Um, the first stop was Iraq, and the last stop was what? Iran. I've done videos, I've done lessons on those stops, right? Libya, all of them. Well, they were destroying artifacts and gathering up. They're doing a diligent search, right? Because if they're going to do this new world order, they got to, chip some noses and destroy some telltales.
Let's look at this from Science News Today. It's entitled Ancient Clay Cylinders Found in Iraq Reveal a King's Secret Plan to Save a Crumbling Temple. It says deep in the heart of modern day Iraq, the winds of time frequently peel back the layers of the earth to reveal secrets.
And let's look at this. Ancient clay cylinders found in Iraq reveal Yahushai's secret plan to save the third temple, which is the house of David. See that? In the spirit. That's what that says. The scriptures, ancient clay cylinders found in Iraq. So what they're about to say is Nebuchadnezzar was dealing with the Israelites, and this technology had to have something to do with them because it's in both places. She knows she's an Israelite. She don't have the 100% truth, but she knows some things.
For millennia. In 2013, the landscape near Tel Al Umir yielded such a secret when two local residents stumbled upon a pair of inscribed clay cylinders resting on the sun baked surface. These were not mere fragments of pottery, they were ancient foundation texts, deliberate messages left behind by a ruler who wanted his legacy to endure long after his empire turned to dust. When the finders handed these artifacts over to the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage, they set in motion a scientific investigation that would bridge a gap of over 2,500 years. It says the objects were found among the ruins of the ancient city of Kish, a site dominated by the weathered remains of a ziggurat, a
Ooh.
massive stepped temple tower that once reached toward the heavens. For years, archaeologists had suspected that the legendary King Nebuchadnezzar II, who ruled from 604 to 562 BC, had played a role in maintaining this sacred structure. Excavations had previously uncovered stamped bricks bearing his name, but bricks are common construction materials. What scholars lacked was a formal narrative account of his work. The discovery of these two cylinders changed everything.
And what they say, if you're up on common lore of the West, Saddam Hussein was working that machine, right, and was time traveling. They found out about it, went to go steal it from him. That's the official story. He had already brought it out and was dealing with it. They found out, went over to go steal it from the Looking Glass.
Providing the first primary foundation text documenting the king's personal dedication to the restoration of this holy site. So we need to ask the question, what was the war in Iraq and the war in Iran really about? Are they staged so that those with evil intentions can get their hands on ancient artifacts that may have been passed down from the fallen? Some of
There she goes about the fallen, passed down from the fallen. Not from the fallen, but if there's something ancient artifacts and there's some technology down there, it was passed down from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, not from the fallen, right? No, if that stuff is there, the Most High put it there. He might have used his men going back into ancient antiquity. They built it then to be brought out today.
you may remember when we saw a number of news reports where they were showing images of Iraq's National Museum being ransacked in 2003. Well, let's hear the rest of the story. Let's look at this from the cradle. It's entitled How the U.S., UAE, and Israel Plundered Iraq's Antiquities. It says the U.S. invasion of Iraq paved the way for the systematic looting and destruction of countless ancient artifacts and manuscripts, with the UAE and Israel playing a significant part in the ongoing theft and global smuggling of these items. It says the Iraqi Ministry of Culture recently announced a significant recovery of 23,000 artifacts, most of which were looted during the illegal U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003. This act was seen as an attempt to erase Iraqi's cultural identity, yet often overlooked. The rich Iraqi Jewish archive remains a contentious topic, with parts of it ending up in Tel Aviv before reaching other destinations. It goes on to say that it was by no coincidence that U.S. forces established bases within crucial archaeological sites across Iraq, including Babylon, dating back to 2300 BC.
What is that telling you? Very, very vital information here. Okay? And you can extrapolate from there. If you're in this truth and the Spirit is dealing with you, right, what does this mean?
And from 3800 BC. Also, Hatra, Nimrod, and others. So, speaking to the cradle, antiquities expert Haider Farhan says that the museum contains thousands of rare artifacts and manuscripts, but there are no official statistics on the number of antiquities stolen from the museum in 2003.
There's Esau. Stolen for the what? Right?
According to Farhan, U.S. forces are directly and indirectly responsible for stealing the museum's contents.
The thief cometh not but to steal and to kill
Now they're going to
and
talk about
destroy.
the Israeli connection. It says, speaking on condition of anonymity.
Now, here we go. Now, listen close to this. The Iraqi Jewish Archive remains. What the fuck is
An
that?
official source in the Iraqi Ministry of Culture, Tourism, and Antiquities reveals to the Cradle that from 2003 until their departure in 2011, U.S. forces secured for Jewish excavation teams to evacuate Iraqi archaeological sites, especially in Babylon and Ur.
What?
In 2010, Israeli Channel 7 reported on a Torah scroll that had been smuggled from Iraq to Tel Aviv. This raised questions about how such a rare piece ended up there, considering it was supposed to be maintained by the Hoover Institution of Stanford University. Until today, the controversy surrounding the Iraqi Jewish archive remains, despite an agreement between the Iraqi government and the U.S. for its return to Baghdad in 2014. The archive mysteriously ended up in Tel Aviv in 2015.
What is the Iraqi Jewish Archive? And if if um, if the U.S. went into Iraq and it was the U.S.-Iraq War, how are the Israelis coming in to excavate? How? How do you just get to slip up into Iraq after it was bombed and strafed? Who let you in there to come in and grab up shit? Right? You're in there stealing. What are you stealing? What are you grabbing? What are you taking control of in Babylon and Ur of the Chaldees? Babylon. That shit is not your shit. That's our shit. What are you doing, Esau? Up in there. What did you go and grab? Okay? What did you get? And what are you doing with it right now? Oh, you're seeing into the future and you're seeing that we're about to get our shit back. Huh?
That's not all, you all. Listen. According to the writer and researcher Nabil al-Rubai, the Jewish archive included 48 scrolls of passages from the book of Genesis written on gazelle skin, calendars in Hebrew, 7,002 books, and a group of sermons in Hebrew dating back to 1692. It also included, according to Rebay, 1,700 rare artifacts documenting the era of the first and second Babylonian captivity, the oldest copy of the Babylonian Talmud, the oldest copy of the Torah, and legal records dating back several centuries. Several centuries. They were left there by the Israelites who were in Iraq, along with other valuables.
During and after the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq, looters raided the country's government offices and also seized ancient artifacts from Iraq's museums. The museums were also vandalized after the 1991 Gulf War. And it is not known how many of Iraq's antiquities have been stolen from the country's archaeological sites.
They are returning items to their natural homes and to a nation that is very attached to its cultural heritage. They help in the fight against criminal and terrorist networks because they prevent the latter from taking advantage of these precious items to raise funds.
Hobby Lobby's expert advised them to be careful about acquiring Iraqi cultural property because hundreds of thousands of objects had been looted from Iraqi archaeological sites. She warned them that cuneiform tablets and cylinder seals were particularly popular on the market and likely to have been looted. The story should have ended there, but it did not. Instead, Hobby Lobby went ahead and bought the artifacts for approximately $1.6 million.
Here are some close ups of the cylinders and the seals. So, some believe that the seals were supposedly given to the Sumerians by the fallen angels.
Are no fallen angels. Angels don't have sex and they didn't have no children with no women. Angels don't have children. So stop with the bullshit and the lies. You don't understand what you're talking about. Okay?
To help them escape extinction. Here you see some other artifacts.
Angels don't die either.
Look at these winged beings here. You can see how they are interacting with humans. Now, this is a diagram of what the project or the Looking Glass device look like, and you can see that there are different parts that have been labeled. Here's another close-up view of it. Look at that part in the middle. That rotates when the device is activated. Supposedly, it begins spinning. Here's a look at what that might look like when it was activated. The whistleblower said the cylinders worked as part of a multi-component system involving rotating electromagnetic assemblies, gas-filled chambers that required a specific type of gas, optical elements, and tuned electromagnetic fields to create a controlled space-time environment for projecting these probable future events. So the different tiers of the bloodline families that trace their lineage back to the fallen are using various
Back to the fall. Trace their bloodline lineages back to the fall. This is such bullshit. Nobody is connected to no angel. Okay? How shy is the angel if anybody's connected to? Okay? Those are his people, and they're the elect of Israel. Not even all of them. So you have no understanding. Anyway,
techniques trying to manipulate future events. They're using sorcery, AI, and ancient technologies. They know how things will end for them. They can look at these Bible prophecies and see that, but they foolishly believe that they will be able to get rid of those they see as undesirable. They already know what the prophecies say concerning us. Let's just look at Zechariah 10:6. The Most High says he will strengthen the house of Judah and will save the house of Joseph. So we see the two branches. He says he will bring them back because he will have mercy on them, and they will be as though he had not cast them aside. So our Father is going to keep his promises concerning us and hear us. He has seen the wicked practices of those who hate us. Only those who want to be deceived honestly believe that these folks got rid of their evil intentions toward us.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. That's a lot of good information. All right, so are they able to see into the future? Yeah, they saw that their time is short. Let's get devices. Second core, 2. I'm going to just get 2 and I'm going to go ahead. I went too long. Second core, 2 and 11. Let's get the device first. Schemes. Let's get devices. Okay. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11 in the King James, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his. We know that you got the project Looking Glass, right? And what did you find? What did you see in the Looking Glass? You saw Revelation 12 and 12, right? Is that what you saw? Revelation 12 and 12 in the Berean. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them, but woe to the earth and the sea. With great fury the devil has come down unto you, knowing he has only, how does he know he only has a short time? Because he looked into the device called the Looking Glass, right? Where's the device at? Scheme. He came up with a scheme to look into the future, right? And what did he do? He got that device called Looking Glass, right? He got the device called Looking Glass and he saw that his time was short. Here comes 2030 or whatever. Whatever he saw that got him spooked him, right? So now what? Now he's going to stand now and he's going to try to scare niggas. Stand now. Mm. Stand now. Where's that? With your many sorceries. Isaiah 47 and 12. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. That's all you got is things like Project Looking Glass. That don't work. Only works so if so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Perhaps you will inspire terror, right? Maybe you'll succeed with your witchcraft. Maybe your witchcraft will take you a little bit further and you can offset the prophecies. Maybe not. Right? You're not scaring nobody. We already know the outcome. You knoweth that you hath but a short time. So Use it wisely. With that, we pray that the elect ratified you, brothers and sisters. Shabbat Shalom.